How do you rebrand a company that's already making 8 figures? When the product is loved, the consumers are loyal, and the numbers are strong, why even touch it? And what happens when the growth plateaus? That's where we come in. We are SimplePlan Media. We help brands find clarity in chaos, combining strategic thinking, storytelling, and digital craftsmanship with branding, marketing, and development. In this episode, we translate art direction into UX and UI. That means understanding users, structuring information, shaping journeys, and designing interfaces that are intuitive, functional, and clear. This episode takes us through 4 phases: personas, information architecture, wireframes, and UI. To kick things off, Yogesh and Rahul sit down to break down the challenges ahead.
With the identity now locked in, the next and probably the most crucial step of this entire project would be the UI and UX. This step will be slightly different than whatever we did in branding, because in branding it was a lot about positioning and getting that right and making sure that it resonates with the end consumers.
Now, when we are redesigning the UI UX of the website, we have a lot of data to go about. So we can understand how the users currently behave on the website. So we'll start off by reviewing the existing data through tools like Microsoft Clarity, Google Analytics, and based on that, then we'll build up the complete UX exercise.
Another aspect why this is important is because it's an entirely D2C brand. So the website is the most crucial touch point for a D2C brand.
Is the bread and butter of any D2C business. We run a lot of ads and then we drive traffic to the website.
Our job is to also make sure that when the users come from different marketing campaigns that you talked about, when they get onto the website, it's also our job that they actually convert. Making sure the conversion rate optimization is better than the current website is also a key deliverable for us, right? Because it makes no sense that we redesign this entire website and their conversions on the website they drop. So this is one crucial point that we have to look at.
The starting point of this exercise would be to get a better understanding of what is working and what is not working for our current customers.
With the challenges and goals laid out, we started where every good experience begins: understanding the audience through user personas.
For Jurassic, we wanted to have real user insight, and for this we presented a survey to the clients, which we asked them to distribute amongst their existing customers. This survey was distributed amongst 1,000 people. Once we had all the responses, we segmented them into 6 sections. The grouping was done on the basis of the common beliefs and motivations that people had. We relied 60% on real data, 30% on client insights, and the remaining 10% was controlled hypothetical discussions that we had internally. Now, what we mapped during personas, we tried to create fictional characters so that we're able to humanize the personas. We list down what their personal goals might be in their lives, what their goals are in relation to the brand, what the deal breakers are, what are their motivators. On the basis of all this information, we create each and every persona.
The personas became our lens, not demographics, but real people with habits, motivations, and context. The challenge was not who they were, but what they needed to feel: clarity, trust, freshness. Those insights shaped the experience, defining how each user type would move through the product.
Based on the comprehensive survey that we conducted and the personas that we've created, we've identified key points that we want to address through this new UX UI that we will be doing.
The first one is authenticity and transparency.
People, especially new customers, were skeptic about the claims that we were making. So with this new UX, our emphasis would be to make sure that we are educating them properly around the kind of farming practices that we are following and how Jurassic as an organization thinks about exotic fruits.
The second key concern is freshness and quality. Again, this is very crucial because it's a fresh fruits brand. So people need to know if the fruits and when they receive it, are they actually ripe? Are they at the optimal level? As soon as people receive these fruits at their doorstep, should they eat them then? So freshness and quality is quite important. The next point is ethical and sustainable practices, which basically translates to like users needing reassurance that whatever we are doing, is it coming from sustainable farming practices? Because that's a key concern for our end consumers and our target audience. They just don't want to get another fruit from any XYZ brand. The next point is value and experience.
So, since we are a premium exotic fruit brand, it's important for the customers to actually feel that as well. This is what we'll be solving through the elevated designs.
The value of our products needs to feel worth it for the end consumers. The last one is reliability and trust.
So, for a brand like us, things like delivery, service, customer care, all those things are important because people are ordering fresh fruits. So, they need that reassurance that this is what they will get.
So all these five hesitations, they became a design challenge for us, and we have to address all of these five elements in the solution that we provide for this entire brand. So the next step is we will be now conducting a detailed UX session with the team, and our job will be to categorize these problems into two predominant categories. One would be problems that can be addressed on the website, and the second category would be the problems that will be addressed outside the website.
Once we had a clear picture of who we were designing for, their motivations, their fears, and expectations, it was time to turn those insights into structure. The next step was to translate those human insights into a logical, intuitive structure, the information architecture.
So, as the name suggests, information architecture is how we organize information on the website. How many pages would be there on the website, what sections are present on each page, and how these pages are interlinked with each other. So, essentially, what we are defining is the flow of information and the hierarchy in which the users would interact with this information. So, now we understand what information people are looking for, what are the pain points that we want to address. And this architecture then helps us in defining the code layout of the website.
A clear IA will enable the end consumers to find whatever they're looking for very quickly without having to spend a lot of time on the website.
We organized everything by user intent from discovery to purchase, creating clear pathways for all our users. We also included new pages on the website. These pages include our farmers page that talks about authenticity and how we select our farmers, how we partner with them, how we make sure the wages are very fair, and how we make them a part of the Jurassic family. We also suggested interesting pages, for example, a fruit community where people can come in, talk about their experiences or the new fruits that they tried today. Since they are exotic fruits, people are really excited about sharing their experiences. So such new pages and sections were also explored during the IFAs.
With the structure in place, it was time to bring it to life. The information architecture gave us the framework, but wireframes are where it finally starts to take shape on screen. This is where logic meets experience, and every scroll, click, and section started finding its place.
Wireframes are devoid of any color, any typography, any images, basically anything that distracts us from actually focusing on the experience side of things.
So essentially, wireframes help us solve a couple of problems. What we do is we create prototypes of the wireframe, and then we are able to get a better understanding of how we are navigating from one page to another, what information is coming at the forefront, and basically get a better understanding of how the user would consume the information.
Another key problem that the wireframes would solve for would be the key sections and how the sections are laid out on the website. So consider all this as a blueprint before actually designing the UI.
So the UX specialists solve for the hierarchy of information and how it is presented to the user, and the UI people can then focus just on making the design better. So in short, it's a culmination of all the hard work that we've done during the UX phase.
During our clarity research, we collated a lot of insights. The first major thing that we noticed was that the key information like shipping, timelines, shipping costs, how do we order, all these links were buried under the footer, and a lot of people were clicking on that information. We designed the new wireframe in a way so that all these important chunks of technical information are showed upfront with the product banner. Coming to the product pages now, the product pages had a lot of information. It had a lot of details about the fruit, about the origin, about the farmers. So we loved the content that was there on the product pages of the old website. But the drawback was that no one would read that information because of the way it was being presented on those pages. With the new UI, we made sure that the redesigned product pages are scannable and also visually appealing so that they invite the user to actually read through the content. Overall, the current website was a bit cold and conversion led. I mean, that makes sense because Jurassic was a very big business. But now, with the new positioning and with the new goals, we wanted to expand to newer markets, we wanted to tap the Gen Z. This is why we tried to add more storytelling overall to the website. With MS Clarity, we studied the visitors on various pages. We noticed what their friction points are, where are they dropping off, what are they clicking again and again, and all the new designs and sections were rectified based on these insights. For the mobile UX of the collections or the shop all page, we gave users the autonomy to switch between a single card layout or a dual card layout. This was done to provide the users with a more premium viewing experience. Interface patterns evolve continuously. So, wireframing is not a one off activity. We have to evolve with the changing times. So, we'll also be improvising our wireframes throughout the phases of the project.
The rules were set with the UX logged in. Now came visual interpretation, the UI. And that's where things got interesting.
The final part of this UI UX process is, of course, the UI, which is where we get into the visual side of things.
So we'll start off by designing the homepage first and getting an alignment on the look and feel. And once that gets approved, then we'll start designing all the other pages.
Based on the approved art direction, we created 4 different homepage variations for the client to choose from. The first one was raw minimalism. The second one was nature's canvas. The third one was more clean and conversion led. And the fourth one was completely inspired from the logo.
Yeah, I'm not so convinced. Yeah, so the fancy thing that I didn't like on the first version was for me it's too much. The effect of key on the top and here it's okay. But here, yeah, a bit too much.
Okay.
I think it works good on the second design to use to have the explore by origin. I think it would be interesting to display it like this. Okay, it could look nice, the background, but it's too, I think it's too fancy. It takes time to load, so we'll slow the website because of this, and it has some complexity. Here, what I like in this version is the Jurassic fruit because it's very clear. I think it's the best is to write it like this. The border of the elements which are not straight, especially here on the user generated content, I think it's too fancy to have those two things on the border. And also, if you look at, I don't, there is an effect applied on the images of the below here. Strange, I don't like that. Yeah, the last one I found quite interesting, the effect of to use the durian shape as a holder to put image. For example, the image of the team could be inside the durian shape. I think we could not use it too much, but I think in some cases it's quite interesting. But for the rest, the product card like this, I don't like it with some background. I don't like the banner also on top with the big logo and the brown color. I don't like that. Yeah, so I'm not really convinced by these designs, and we are a bit away from what we imagined we would be.
So we're in a bit of a problem now. We showed the homepage to the clients that we finalized, and I think what is happening is the clients are getting a little bit of cold feet because it's always problematic when you are rebranding a business. Now you're seeing the new brand and it looks nothing like the old brand. So sometimes this does happen.
What we'll essentially do now is we'll create two versions, one with the color palette that they already had and one with the new brand identity. And now we're confident that we'll be able to show them the value that the new identity system brings to the table.
But of course, anything can happen. And in case they do not like the version that we have created, we have a version that fits in with their existing brand colors. And we'll have to take a little bit of detour in terms of what we have established until now. But we'll tackle it as it happens.
So yeah, let's see how it goes.
The feedback was clear. The direction itself wasn't the issue, but the variations felt designer forward compared to what the clients had in mind. So we decided to take a step back. The team decided to build two versions, one that stays true to the new visual direction and another as a fallback, using the colors the clients were more comfortable with. For now, the work stays open. Two versions of the experience, one bold, one familiar, both laid out to let the work speak for itself. In the next episode, those choices move closer to a decision as we take the experience toward development. If you're enjoying this journey, make sure to subscribe and follow along. This is SimplePlan Media, and you're watching Building a Brand Season 2.